In a quiet village surrounded by fields and narrow roads, there lived a woman named Eliza and her son Noah. Their house was small and old, with cracked walls and a wooden door that made noise every time it opened. Life was simple, but it was not easy. Eliza was a single mother who worked hard every day to give her son a better future. Even when she was tired, her eyes were full of hope, because a promise lived inside her heart. Noah was a gentle and thoughtful boy. He did not ask for much, and he understood that his mother struggled. He often helped her with small chores and tried to study hard at school. Eliza watched him quietly and felt proud, but she also felt afraid. She knew the world could be unkind, and she feared that poverty might stop her son from reaching his dreams. When Noah was very young, Eliza made a promise. She held her son in her arms one night when he was sick and whispered softly, "No matter how hard life becomes, I will never let you give up on your dreams." That promise became her strength. Every decision she made, every sacrifice she accepted, was guided by that promise. Eliza worked as a seamstress during the day, sewing clothes for others. At night, she cleaned houses in the nearby town. Her hands were often sore, and her back ached constantly, but she never complained. When Noah asked her why she worked so much, she smiled and said, "Because your future is worth it." At school, Noah loved reading and learning. His teachers noticed that he was different. He asked questions, listened carefully, and dreamed beyond the village. One day, his teacher told Eliza that Noah had great potential and could continue his education in the city. Eliza smiled politely, but inside, her heart began to shake. She knew the city meant opportunity, but it also meant money they did not have. That night, Eliza could not sleep. She sat near the window, listening to the silence of the village. She thought about her promise. She thought about fear, and she thought about hope. Slowly, she realized something important. A promise means nothing if you are too afraid to keep it. Weeks later, Eliza took a bold step. She sold the small gold necklace her mother had given her years ago. It was the only valuable thing she owned. When she placed it in the shopkeeper's hand, her fingers trembled. That necklace held memories, but her son's future mattered more. Noah did not know about the necklace. He only noticed that his mother smiled more often and encouraged him to study harder. She told him that opportunities come to those who are prepared. Noah listened carefully and worked even harder, not knowing the silent sacrifices behind her words. As time passed, Eliza grew weaker. Long hours and little rest slowly took their toll. Some mornings she struggled to stand, but she never allowed Noah to see her pain. She believed that a mother's strength should be invisible, and her worries should remain hidden. One evening, Noah returned home early and found his mother sitting quietly, holding her chest. Fear rushed into his heart. He asked her if she was okay, and she forced a smile. "I'm fine," she said softly. But Noah knew something was wrong. That night, Noah overheard a conversation between Eliza and a neighbor. He learned the truth about the necklace, the extra jobs, and the sacrifices. Tears filled his eyes as he realized how much his mother had given up for him. For the first time, he understood the weight of a mother's promise. From that moment on, Noah made a promise of his own. He promised himself that he would never waste the sacrifices made for him. He promised to study harder, live honestly, and one day give his mother the peace she deserved. But life still had many tests waiting ahead, and the promise Eliza made would soon be challenged in ways she never expected. After that night, Noah changed in quiet ways. He woke up earlier, studied longer, and stopped complaining about small things. Every book he opened felt heavier, because it carried his mother's sacrifices inside it. Eliza noticed the change but said nothing. She only smiled softly, hoping her son would never feel guilty, only grateful. Months passed, and a letter finally arrived from the city school. Noah had been accepted with partial support, but they still needed money for travel and living costs. Eliza read the letter slowly. Her hands shook, and her heart felt both joy and fear. The promise she made years ago was now standing directly in front of her. That night, Eliza made another difficult decision. She took on more night work, even though her body was already weak. Some evenings, she returned home so tired that she could barely speak. Still, She never missed preparing Noah's meals or listening to him talk about his studies. A mother's promise does not rest, even when the body does. One rainy morning, Eliza collapsed while cleaning a house. She was taken to a small clinic, where the doctor warned her to slow down. Noah sat beside her bed, holding her hand, afraid to lose the only person who had ever believed in him without doubt. Eliza looked at her son and whispered, "Promise me you will go, even if I cannot walk beside you." Tears rolled down Noah's face. He did not want success without his mother. But Eliza knew something he did not yet understand. A parent's love is not about staying close. It is about letting go when the time comes. With help from neighbors and the school, Noah finally left for the city. On the morning he departed, Eliza stood at the door, smiling bravely while her heart broke quietly inside. She watched her son walk away, carrying not just a bag, but her promise. Life in the city was difficult for Noah. He felt lonely and overwhelmed, but whenever he wanted to give up, he remembered his mother's tired hands and gentle smile. Her promise became his strength. Slowly he succeeded, step by step, failure by failure. Years later, Noah returned to the village as a grown man. He was no longer the boy who once feared the future. When he entered the house, Eliza looked at him with tears in her eyes. In that moment, she knew her promise had not been broken. Noah knelt beside his mother and said softly, "Your promise gave me a life." Eliza held his face and replied, "And your courage gave my promise meaning." A mother's promise is not just words. It is sacrifice, patience, and love without conditions. It is a promise that lives long after fear fades and dreams begin to grow.